Let's get started. We have a lot of work to do.
So we meet this guy Shawn, who parks cars for people who want other people to see how nice their cars are when they get to this hotel. But his friends think that he and his friend Katy are slackers who aren't living up to their potential. And they're right.
Parking cars is super hard.
But when they're on their way to work one day on the bus, some guy starts harassing Shawn about a pendant his mom gave him when he was 5 and never took off because that's not allowed in these stories.
It's too late to back out now. You're already committed, bro.
He also never lengthened the rope on it for strangers on a bus being able to see it reasons. But this guy really wants it and has 2 guys grab him when he won't give it up. And naturally, Shawn doesn't want to fight him, and Katy's like,
"Does he look like he can fight?"
And then Shawn proceeds to whoop all 3 of their asses.
I think I did okay.
But then this huge dude gets up and tries to fight him with this sword that somehow retracts out of his arm, which he's still able to bend.
That thing does not obey the laws of physics at all.
It's also hot enough to cut through metal like butter, and he starts cutting up the bus, starting with the brakes. So the bus driver loses control because you can only drive downhill in San Francisco, and then he gets knocked out because the rule is if the bus driver isn't an asshole, they're easily replaced by any passenger.
I'm not gonna handle this. Every time I've tried to drive a bus, I get yelled at.
So Katy takes the wheel.
I'm the Asian Jeff Gordon.
And Shawn keeps fighting Sword Arm Dude. And all the passengers but this dipshit wannabe influencer and the driver get to the back of the bus as it gets cut in half.
Not a threat, just an entertainer.
So Shawn goes to the front to get Sword Arm Dude and the other 3 guys away from the people. He then kicks the 3 randos off the bus and holds the dude twice his size back so the passengers can run past him to the front. And not a single one of them hesitates, jumping over exposed sparking metal hanging on by a thread while the bus is speeding down the road.
Oh, hell no, screw you, I'm not doing this.
But then Sword Arm Dude says,
You and your sister deserve what's coming.
So he signals Katy to turn and she crashes half the bus. And then she uses a dump truck to stop the other half of the bus. So of course everyone is fine, but Shawn notices he doesn't have his necklace anymore.
Well, couldn't he just get it off one of the bodies?
Yeah, except that Sword Arm Dude has it, and he's completely fine after this.
Bullshit. You think I'm going to fall for that?
So Shawn and Katy make it all the way back to his live-in storage unit before she asks what's going on.
What the hell's going on?
You really want to talk about this now?
To which he says that those guys were sent by his dad, and they're going after his sister next, so he needs to help her. And thank God she sent him a blank postcard a few months ago, so he knows where to find her.
I didn't send you this.
He needs to go to China, and apparently she can just afford to take an international flight at the drop of a hat, and goes too.
Where did you get all that money?
He tells her on the plane how after his mom died, his dad taught him all the kung fus. Well, he didn't. This clown ninja did. And he trained to be a master assassin by 14. But when he got his first mission, he ran away.
You realize how messed up that is, right?
So they get to the address that was on the postcard, and he finds out that he has to fight in this arena. Turns out, he signed a contract on the elevator ride up and has to fight after Wong makes the abomination beat himself up. So he gets in the ring, and apparently after 10 years of friendship, Katy's never seen Shawn with his shirt off.
Give her 2 tickets to the gun show.
But it turns out, he's gonna fight his sister. So instead of fighting and winning a bunch of money, he tries to talk to her and loses.
I never thought she'd be able to do it, with as weak and skinny as she appears to be.
She then tells him she's pissed off that he left her and doesn't need his help. And that's when their dad's men show up, and she runs through a secret exit, leaving him and Katy to go out on some convenient scaffolding right outside the window. And of course, the bad guys a few floors above them think to check the scaffolding, and Shawn fights him while Katy runs away. But she doesn't get very far, and ends up hanging from some bamboo over the city. But Shawn's fast, and runs half a building away to catch her at the last second. But then he drops her when he's tased, but his sister grabs her. See, she just wanted him to know how she felt when he left her, except he left her without somebody to talk to, and she left him with an army trying to kill him.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
But they fight the rest of the guys together, and then all of a sudden a bomb goes off, and the clown ninja crawls down and takes her pendant that she also never took off. Shawn chases him down and catches up to him, and they fight until his dad comes in to stop him from killing the clown ninja.
Family reunion, yay!
He says,
I told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they tried.
Meaning that he dared them to try to kill his son, who as far as he knows, hasn't trained for over a decade just to get a necklace.
For all he knows, he hasn't even worked out in the last 10 years.
True, and we know what could happen to even the best heroes when they stop training.
Don't it look alright?
But his dad does say that he kept tabs on him, but Katy doesn't seem to have a clue he can fight, and they spend all their time together. So I'm not sure where he would do this other than a storage unit, and that doesn't exactly have windows.
Look at you! So muscly and everything.
and then they all leave like nothing happened and take a helicopter to his dad's fortress.
He has a fort?
Yeah, he's got a huge castle hidden in the mountains because it turns out Shawn's dad is the head of the 10 rings.
So he took over after Trevor?
This is the Mandarin?
I know, it's embarrassing.
Shut up. Trevor was just an actor Killian paid, and he made the Mandarin up.
I am the Mandarin!
And it worked. America was terrified of an orange.
Movie magic love.
Wenwu is actually thousands of years old because he found these magic bracelets in a hole and has been using them to try to rule the world, but he stopped when he dance-fought their mom and fell in love. But he started it back up after she died, which means that he was in charge of the 10 rings when they kidnapped Tony Stark.
Son of a bitch.
But they get there, and Wenwu's like, hey everybody, my son's back. And he doesn't even mention his daughter because she's only been gone for like 4 years or something. See, after his wife died, he not only decided his son should be a killing machine, but he pretended his daughter didn't even exist.
He said he couldn't look at me because I reminded him of her.
Real great way of honoring his wife's memory, destroying what she gave her life up twice for.
Exactly.
So Xialing tells Katy that she learned to fight watching other people. Now most martial arts are learned from repetition, but learning counter moves kinda relies on someone else being there too. So her fighting style should be like an argument you rehearsed in your head, but then the other person doesn't follow the script you wrote for them, and now you don't know what to say.
So, pretty confused right now.
After dinner, Wenwu tells him that he's been searching for the magical land of Talo because their mom told him that she was locked there in a cave. And the kids are like, Dad? Mom's dead.
Moving on is an American idea.
So he takes their pendants and puts them in the eyes of a dragon statue that uses not wet water to show them a path through a moving forest maze to the entrance of Talo. When Shawn says the idea is crazy, Wenwu asks him when he's going to stop pretending, and Shawn looks at him like, you're the one who thinks our dead mom is telling you she's locked in a cave in a magical world that can only be entered on a specific date and time, assuming you can get past the killer bamboo maze.
I want banana balls.
And after their dad locks them up for not believing him,
He's a bit sensitive about that.
Xialing now thinks it could be possible, but Shawn thinks they need to get there before Wenwu to warn the people that he's coming. They then hear a noise in the other room and go to investigate. Well, it turns out that it's Trevor.
Oh, hello, loves.
And their dad broke him out of prison to kill him for pretending to be him.
Well, I panicked, but then I handled it.
But apparently he started acting, and the army liked it so much that now he entertains them to stay alive.
I'm not dead, it's just a performance.
And then all of a sudden, this dog with no head and 2 asses comes out, and Trevor's glad that they can see it too.
I thought I was hallucinating again. I'm sorry. Oh no, I'll take a hallucination like that anytime.
And it just so happens that Morris wants to go home and knows the way to Talo. So that is a very convenient 6-legged, 4-winged, double-assed dog.
He's cute, go ahead, pet him.
So they escape through a tunnel to the garage and steal Sword Arm Dude's car, whose name is apparently Razor Fist.
It is a name what strikes fear into the hearts of anyone what hears it.
And then they escape through the world's fastest garage door. Morse guides them through the death bamboo that only makes a path for vehicles that can go 80, and they find Talo.
Village in another dimension full of magical creatures. I thought it was just a fairy tale.
Welcome to the circus.
And the villagers there tell him that people have been showing up for centuries to try to open the gate.
How's that?
Oh, because the forest doesn't do a damn thing if you just walk through it.
I was lost for many years.
In fact, Wenwu met their mom there several times before she left the village to start a family with them.
She's just dying to quit her job so that she can take care of me and have babies.
But their aunt tells them that people hear voices telling them to open the cave all the time because there's some soul-eating monsters that got locked in there by a dragon and they really want out. So all the villagers there are really warriors trying to protect the cave from being opened. The soul suckers use whatever you want the most to lure you there to break them out.
Look at the nice dead ferret.
But since Wenwu has the 10 bracelets, they're using the lie that their mom is locked in there, so he'll break them out. And Shawn's like, that's crazy.
So you think soul eaters are talking to our dad?
And Nan's like,
Let's go see your mother.
well, a picture of her. But also when they're there looking at this shrine that's conveniently placed in the front, they get some armor that's already in their sizes.
I believe in being prepared.
So to prepare for Wenwu showing up, Katy trains with a bow and arrow, Xialing swings some ropey thing around, and Shawn asks his aunt how his mom beat up his dad, so she shows him how to dance fight.
Just play it cool, boy. Real cool.
And then she shows him how to fight with wind and a shitload of leaves, but that's not something he'll be able to do until he truly knows himself.
Who are you?
Shang-Chi.
I don't know who that is.
So he goes off to think about his mom, what she taught him when he was 5, and how she was brutally murdered to protect him.
That is exactly the daughter my mom wishes came out of her vagina.
He also thought about how his dad took him to where the gang hung out and killed all of them in front of him, and then asked him if he would like to join him in this killing spree. And this is where his training started.
He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy.
And it also ended with him being assigned to kill the head of the gang, who he tells Katy he did end up killing.
Wait a minute, this guy is basically unstoppable. Why would he let that guy who killed his wife live for that long?
So he can force his teenage son to do his punishment for not doing it 7 years ago?
What is wrong with you, asshole?
But he hated himself for it and ran away and changed his name.
I thought that I could change my name, start a new life, pretend like it never happened.
You changed your name from Shang to Shawn? I wonder how your father found you.
But now Wenwu wants to destroy the only part of his mom he has left, so he's gonna have to kill him. The village knows that Wenwu's coming, so they put on their tunic armor and give their lions some pretty collars. Xialing puts on her armor, and Shawn puts on a jacket from Michael Jackson's closet. But they won't let Katy have a bow to save their village from an army of dudes that could have real-world guns and shit.
I've done dumber things with worse odds.
But luckily, only chose to arm themselves with crossbows and glowy hooked sticks.
You can't just march into our mom's village with this bullshit.
Well, he probably thought that his wife would be mad at him if he killed her whole village.
We'll burn their village to the ground.
Not to mention, Nan told him how the rest of Talo is like super advanced, and they didn't call them for help either. But they start to fight with non-lethal weapons, and Wenwu goes towards the cave. Nan tries to stop him, but the clown ninja stops her. And now Shawn has to go after him, but Sword Arm Dude, Razor Fist, tries to stop him. But Xialing stops him.
I just keep imagining you waking up in the morning, sir, looking in the mirror, and in all seriousness saying to yourself, you know what would be a really kick-ass name?
But luckily, Wenwu stops at his wife's shrine to pay respects before trying to break her free from the cave. So Shawn's able to catch up.
Yeah, that doesn't even make any sense.
Wenwu tells him how he blames Shawn for her death because the 5-year-old didn't protect the only person who was able to beat his ass from a gang who wanted revenge for him being a dick. A gang that, I might add, saw that 6 of them would be fighting a single unarmed woman and called for reinforcements.
We are in serious trouble.
It's like the most challenging job ever.
He then tries to guilt trip his dad and says that his mom wouldn't want him anymore, so Wenwu super punches him into the lake. She then calls out to Wenwu and he's like, see? I still got it. I'm coming, honey. And when he gets to the cave, he starts punching away at it. And after the 3rd hit, this giant demon bat flies out.
A bat?
Holy shit.
But he keeps punching away at it, letting more and more of these things out, still thinking that his wife's in there and didn't get eaten by these things after 10 years.
I know what you're talking about, dude.
The 2 armies notice the bat coming at them, and they warn Sword Arm Dude that only dragon scale weapons will work on him, and he laughs, but then sees the clown ninja get his soul ripped out, and then his arm sword doesn't cut it, so he's like, okay.
You know, I was in Mortal Kombat with a fucking bat. Give me a break.
But the bats are stealing souls to bring back to the Dweller in Darkness, so he can be strong enough to break the gate. So I guess Wenwu's only there to loosen the pickle jar.
Give yourself some credit. Give yourself 12% credit.
The villagers arm the 10 rings with dragon scale weapons and head to the lake that Shawn is still somehow alive in. And also somehow, Wenwu isn't noticing the bats coming and going out of the cave with bright-ass glowing souls.
And is that my problem?
But the ruckus has woken up the dragon that was at the bottom of the lake, and Shawn's been breathing in its morning breath.
A bad case of dragon breath. Bad breath.
So it doesn't eat him after being asleep for hundreds of years, but gives him a ride to go eat some bats, and then drops him off by his dad so they can dance fight.
Dance off, bro. Me and you.
The dragon starts getting attacked, but Xialing helps it, so it comes to thank her and lets her ride it too. Apparently the dance fighting is paying off. Shawn now has 5 of the bracelets, because it seems that his mom taught him how to control them without him even knowing it.
He's pretty good at that.
Right?
So they fight some more, and Shawn gets all 10. He balls him up to go to kill his dad, but then just gives him back to him.
I just don't get why you're scared to actually use it for something serious.
He wants his dad to see that he was wrong. But then the Dweller in Darkness breaks out, and Wenwu's like, that's not your mom.
Okay, perhaps I was mistaken.
I like your spike face.
And then the Dweller thanks him for freeing him by sucking his soul out of his body. and he dies.
You sound like my mom.
But he did give the bracelets back to Shawn, so it's a really good thing his armor has exposed forearms. I'm sure that wasn't a hint to this happening or anything.
What's that supposed to mean?
What's that supposed to mean?
But the dragon tackles the dweller, closing the cave entrance, so now they have no choice but to kill it. It starts to go to the village to get stronger, so Xialing gives Shawn a ride. They try to drown it in a water spout, but some babies show up to feed its mama, and after like 10 souls, it's able to break free. It then grabs the dragon and tries to eat its soul. The archery instructor tells Katy that if it gets the dragon's soul, it'll be able to take over the world. But he also tells her that it has a weak spot on its neck.
And suddenly this bat comes swooping down out of nowhere.
And then he dies.
Sorry, we make a good team.
So she waits until the dweller basically has the soul out before she fires.
Just take the shot, you little mooch.
But wouldn't you know it? After only a few hours of practice, she makes the game-winning shot and it lets the dragon go.
Let's kill him properly this time.
It traps the dweller in the water again, but this time, Shawn makes it eat the bracelets, and then he summons them back to him, and it blows up.
Oh, the mega soul sucker was such a nasty bitch.
So when they get back home, they tell their friends about their trip, and they call bullshit, even though there's a YouTube video posted before they left that not only went viral, but that John was able to identify Katy in it, let alone Shawn. But then Wong shows up and takes him to Kamar-Taj, so now they're convinced. Apparently the bracelets are giving off a signal, but they're not sure to who or where.
It doesn't matter.
It matters.
It also matters that you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons.
Come on, you got this.
You got this.
Don't be nervous.
Morris says, great job, everyone.
Go. You can go. He says go.